It's the Sittin Sportside podcast, exclusively on 1045theteam.com.
Yeah. Kind of looking at it. A little changed up a little bit.
We lost all our intros, Mike. So we had to improvise here.
I thought we blamed it on guys just because it's guys.
Why not?
Anyways, welcome back. It's been how long?
It's been a long time since we really podcasted here, buddy. So I forgot to. I lowered the wrong one.
Oh, you lowered me, didn't you?
We were getting drowned out there by 2 Chainz for a second. Hopefully you can understand us. But yeah, we're back, Mike, and there's a lot of hype around us being back because if you remember, all our loyal listeners out there, we had a huge moment last year where we were able to bring you some cool interviews with guys like Goose Gossage, Wade Boggs,
your man Juan Pierre, Aaron
Harang, Willie Bloomquist, and Andy Sonnenstein.
It is Steen, isn't it?
It is probably Steen. We called him Stein to his face.
Yeah, he looked like he might not have been too happy about that.
I'm not sure he was. Those are up on 1045theteam.com, youtube.com/team1045. We actually have a Sittin Sportside tab now, Mike. I don't know if you know about this. A playlist on youtube.com for 1045 The Team.
How did I not know this?
All of our podcasts right there. I think most of those interviews are on there. If not, I'll get on it and they'll be on there by the time you listen to this. So that'll be fun for you guys to listen to if you haven't. And then if you have heard that Randy Johnson, among others, will be at this, and I don't want to promise any of these guys because we had, 15 minutes before last year?
Yeah.
I don't want to promise that we're going to get the big unit, but he's the big ticket right now.
They gave us the field, and everybody showed up 10 minutes before home run derby. Like,
oh, yeah. Luis Soho was like, I'll talk to you in a second, and then he ran off, did home run batting practice, and we lost him. There was other guys that we tried to get, but we were in a zone, and then you had these people pushing.
We got Zeal, too.
We got Todd Zeal. Yep. Forgot about Zeal. Man, we got pushed off the field. We were gonna get a couple other people. Was it Kadai or someone else lined up, but it just didn't work out or something like that. But there's a lot of good players
in there for a couple minutes.
What's that?
We snuck Boggs in.
Yeah, Boggs is a good one. I mean, I don't want to give away too much of the interview if you haven't heard it, so you can go listen to it. But I think I was like, you know what? Let me ask some non-baseball related questions first because he probably hears enough about these things, but then again, he probably hears a lot about those things too. Like it's always sunny appearance. If you were wondering how he felt, what if he was drinking real beer on set, which according to Charlie Day, I think he said he was. We'll get his real answer on that. If that was a fun one. But anyone else you're looking forward to that you've heard on there? I know you want to talk to Goose again.
Kind of want to hear from the Flying Hawaiian, Shane Victorino, who's tentatively here, going to be there for the Phillies.
Right, and there's another young kid from Hawaii playing with the Rangers right now, so we could ask him about him. Not that many people really know or care about Isaiah for the Rangers.
I have no idea.
I don't know how to pronounce his last name. It's something Smith. I don't know. It was
Schmitty, Kayako. I don't know.
But he's on the Rangers, second baseman, filling in, or shortstop, I think, filling in for Elvis Andrus. That's enough about that. Let's get right into what this podcast is also about, which is also our team, the ones we root for, along with Levac, the New York Yankees.
Wait, we're not Orioles fans?
Well, it used to be, and I guess in 01 to 03, right? They were the Baltimore Orioles?
1901 to 1903, right. Not 2001 to 2003.
1901, yeah, right. 01 to 03 was...
We're not the Ghazi Bears. We're Mike and Eric, the Sittin Sportside podcast.
Yeah, but no, we are Yankee fans, and we're also your home for Yankees baseball on 1045 The Team, but this is 1045theteam.com.
So I have a question for you.
Yes.
Are you surprised Severino's pitching this good? Yes or no, and give me a reason.
My surprise he's pitching this good. No, I'm not surprised because the stuff was real when it came up in 2015. Now, if you asked me this 2 years ago, listening to John and Susan, they were saying, this guy looks great for the bullpen because he was stunk for the first month and a half of the season. Then he was on the DL for a very long time. They came back and brought him as a reliever and didn't give him any starts until late in that year. Yep. And every time he pitched out of the bullpen, you heard John and Susan say, really, doesn't this guy look like a great reliever? The Yankees don't need another reliever, A, and B, they need a guy like Severino to step up. And I'm not surprised that he's continuing to do what he doing this year because he did it last year. And I honestly think that what he's been doing is what this pitcher was. 16 is just he was injured, and that was it.
I've got I've got no, and I've got two good and solid reasons. One, if you look at his rookie year when he was dynamite, you saw it. You knew it was there. The stuff was there. You know what? He had a down year his second year. So what? Look at his numbers last year. He arguably could have been the Cy Young last year. Why not? He could win it this year. He's got to beat Verlander right now, and Verlander's unhittable. But if you ask me, why not? Why can't he? And here's the other thing. Who's that famous Red Sox pitcher that we all hated for many, many years? That in '99 was what? He won the Cy Young, I think.
Okay. Now you narrowed it down. Okay.
What's his name? El Pedro?
El Pedro.
If I remember right, he called the Yankees his daddy in 2003.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's been working with Pedro. If you ask me, I do not care what your name is. If you have the guts to go to Pedro and say, hey, I want your help, he's not a bad guy to learn from. He was unhittable in his prime. I'm okay with my head. You know what, Sevy? Go ahead, keep working with Pedro every offseason. Learn what you can learn from him. Why not?
And the K per 9 rate is if you compare his K per 9 rate with other players, other pitchers on the Yankees, it's closer to the pitchers in the bullpen than it is pitchers that are starters. Which does it say a lot about what CC and Tanaka
what,
right now?
8 Ks right now a game?
What?
What's he averaging? 8?
Well, he's averaging close to 11 strikeouts per 9 innings per game. You really want to get into that? That's some other
probably 8.
Probably 8, but. Listen, he's allowing less than one runner an inning. He has a .9 whip.
Yeah.
Which is what you want out of a pitcher. The less base runners you have.
That's like
a mistake here and a mistake there is only one run if you let up a home run here and there. He's limiting the base runners, and that's what makes a great pitcher. And Severino, to me, he should be a front runner along with the Verlander. Anyone on the Astros rotation, right? Trevor Bauer might be onto something. I'm telling you.
Drone boy.
3 different pitchers now, not to get on a rant about this, but 3 different pitchers have come from other teams and have just been okay. Like, they've been good, but not great. And they come to this, and all of a sudden their curveball is so much better, and they're striking out many more players. Like Garrett Cole. To me, Verlander has always been good. Garrett Cole is the one that's definitely opened my eyes now. I'm like, really? This guy's that good now? Come on.
I kind of, the way he's pitching right now, kind of wish we.
Is Michael Pineda helping them out, giving them some kind of substance? I don't know.
Maybe they called the Yankees their daddy. We're not sure. Maybe that's why they didn't trade for him.
But back to the Yankees. I think the problem with the Yankees, I guess, right now is they don't know who the number in not to look too far into the future, but they don't really know necessarily who their number 3 starter is unless you're 100% confident or and think that you're going to get what CC was last year in the playoffs. Because right now, do you really think it's going to be Sonny Gray? No one thinks that because Sonny Gray is literally the antithesis of the Yankees right now. No one wants to give this guy a shot.
You never know. He's been so bad. What he's gonna do. He's either gonna be the Sonny Gray who's unhittable, or he's gonna be the Sonny Gray that can't get anybody out.
And you don't have Herman. It's not Herman.
Oh.
You're not gonna rely on Herman. He's a rookie, and then you're also not necessarily gonna rely on Montgomery if he gets back this year. So that's where the problem really lies right now. Is who's that number 3 starter? CC struggled in his last outing against the Royals, but. He's been overall solid this season, but I think if you're the Yankee fan, which we are, we're fans on the mic right now, as Levac would say, I think we're really looking at this, okay, who can we go out and get? And is Tampa Bay a team that's going to be able to go trade Chris Archer? And are they going to trade them to a division rival? Is it time to think? It's a little early because we're not in July yet, but the Yankees probably need to get one more starter because if Justice Sheffield is probably not going to, if he comes up this year, he's not going to be a guy you're going to rely on in a postseason rotation.
I heard an interesting rumor this morning. It was either this morning or late last night. And if this actually came true, I don't know what I would do. I think I would lose it. There's a rumor floating around right now that the crosstown rivals may be pulling off a blockbuster trade. Supposedly, from what I hear, it's either going to be Syndergaard or DeGrom heading to the Pinstripes. Whether or not that actually happens, but it is rumored. And I'm not against it.
To plug another show on 104.5 The Team, Tim Kirchner was on with Big Board Sports, Roger Wow and Chris Honorado, and he emphatically said they're definitely not sure. Well, he said he didn't say definitely, but they say he probably won't trade them. And if they do trade them, there's no way they trade them to the Yankees, which I would 100% agree with. There's no way the Mets make a trade with the Yankees.
But it would be sick. It'd be sick. I've seen Syndergaard in person. I was 10 feet away from him a year and a half ago. And let me tell you, calling that man Thor might be an understatement. He is huge. And I mean ginormously huge. I went, oh my God. I just can't I couldn't imagine having to face him in the batter's box. I just couldn't. There's no way.
But I'm telling you, there's no way the Yankees get him and get them. And listen, these aren't guys that these are. And we're home for New York sports, so we'll talk about the Mets here a little bit too. If I'm a Mets fan, what are you talking about? Trading Syndergaard and DeGrom? Those are the cornerstones of our team. This is what we're going to be relying on for the next 5 to 6 years to carry us into these games. And you talk about a postseason series. If we get to the postseason again, I'm not saying we as a Mets fan, as a Mets fan. I'm not a Mets fan. I'm talking as if I was a Mets fan. Like if they get to the playoffs again, you want DeGrom and Syndergaard 1-2.
Playoffs?
I mean, that is unfortunately what the Mets fans are saying. There's a lot of question mark behind if they get to the playoffs again. But
start off really hot, and how are they doing right now?
Right, and then they're in a really tough division. Like early in the season, there was always like, oh, they're going to get games because the Marlins are in it, and people were down on the Phillies, weren't necessarily high on the Braves. This is a really good division.
Everybody's better than they. I even think the Marlins, they're bad, but they're surprising people.
If you listen to my previews, Mike, did you listen to my previews?
No.
But if you did,
previews.
I've been saying this for a while. The Mets kind of reminded the Marlins kind of reminded me going into this season what everybody was looking at the Jets going into the 2017 football season. And I know you're going to go off on a tangent probably about how bad the Jets are, but they were looking at the Jets as one of the worst all-time offenses of all time. We're going to score the least amount of points, and they surprised people, and they won a lot early on in the season. Now they ended up with the 6th worst team in all of football, but that's how I look at the Marlins. People are looking at this because they traded all their outfield, they traded D. Gordon as well, that they were going to be historically bad, but they're doing better than you would think. That's how I look at the Marlins.
I'll give you that. But can we not talk about the Jets? Because I'm still pissed off about draft day, okay? Still pissed off the fact that I'm throwing this in there now because. Should
we rename this podcast the Tangent Hour?
The Tangent Hour with Mike James on how bad the Jets really are. Okay. God, Mike McCagnon, what an idiot! You trade away the 6th overall pick and 3 second-rounders to Indianapolis when we have no talent on that team whatsoever. Hey, you might as well why don't we just go sign a bunch of more drunks off of Caroline Street in downtown Saratoga or in Albany and sign them to the Jets roster and say, go play football. That's what they're playing with right now. And you're going to trade to the 3rd overall pick to pick Sam Darnold? Sam Darnold? Are you stupid?
Well, let me say this. I agree with you that trade is terrible because if I go into that draft, I think to myself, okay, the top 6 picks, I have 4 quarterbacks to choose from, plus Bradley Chubb and Saquon Barkley. I'm going to at least get one of the people that I want.
And you're going to worry about getting Sam Darnold at 3 when you have no talent on that team?
Well, what was worse for me as a Jets fan was that if Darnold didn't fall to them, it was going to be Baker Mayfield. I know you're a huge Baker Mayfield fan. I did not want Baker Mayfield at number 3.
I am so mad at the fact that the
Darnold
Jets
has some
got
potential,
Darnold,
but
okay?
I agree with you.
And I'm happy that Baker Mayfield got drafted number 1. Just for his sake, I wish it wasn't the Browns that took him at number 1. But hey, I'm an Oklahoma fan. I'm happy for him, okay? And I will be buying a Baker Mayfield Browns jersey, and I will say that proudly. I don't care. But how do you trade away 3 second-round picks for that to get Sam Darnold when you have no talent? We don't have a wide receiver. Our number 1 wide receiver right now is Terrell Pryor.
I'm not against just trading up to get a quarterback if you think that's the quarterback of your future. But how many picks they did to trade up to get him? There was 4 quarterbacks that everyone was kind of saying is on an even playing field, so you were definitely going to get one of them at 6, or Bradley Chubb, or Saquon Barkley, which I would have been fine with as a Jets fan. And then the coup de grace is this. Mike McCagnon, to your point where you're saying, and Todd Bowles are both almost sitting ducks at each of their respective roles, which means that Sam Darnold is going to be someone else's quarterback, some other GM's quarterback, some other coach's quarterback, and that's not necessarily what you want to do with a player, as we've seen from guys like Ryan Leaf and Jamarcus Russell. They get thrown into positions where they aren't their person's guy. It wasn't Lane Kiffin's guy. Kiffin didn't want Russell. Kevin Gilbride was fired in Leaf's first year. That could be a really bad place for a quarterback, and so that's what really scares me about the Jets is Darnold could be good, but if he's in the wrong situation, which he might be with the Jets, if they bring in other people, it could really hurt him.
See, here's my thing. Being a Jets fan, I obviously want this to work in the worst
He should be starting day one, though, at this point.
I would rather, honestly, if you're drafting a quarterback at 3, he better be starting game 1.
And I liked Bridgewater, and I liked McCown did for the Jets last year. But at this juncture, I think you got to go with the young kid if he's ready.
This is what pisses me off, okay? We needed a quarterback, yes. And I agree, yes, we did. There was no doubt about that. And yes, we had to take one in the first round, or even the second round, either way. But to me, Sam Darnold wasn't worth 3 second-round picks. We probably could have got him at 6.
Any quarterback the Jets would have taken at 3 were worth 3 second-round picks. Even your boy Mayfield. Nothing was worth trading up from 6 until 3, especially with the Giants. You knew they were probably going to take a running back, and the Browns were going to take a quarterback at 1 and 4. Well, okay, fine. Who else took a quarterback? The Bills took one at what, 7, and then Rosen went 10. You were going to get a quarterback at 6, whether it was one you wanted or not. The Colts weren't going to take one. The Bears weren't going to take one. It was. I mean,
here's my thing. Okay, talking about the draft. You're Cleveland sitting at 4. You took.
Yeah, not to go off too much of a tangent here.
You took Baker at 1.
Yeah.
Minka Fitzpatrick sitting at 4.
Well, let's not go on too much.
But Minka Fitzpatrick is hands down the
here.
best cornerback in college, and you don't take Minka Fitzpatrick at 4?
Well, he's more of a safety, and he fell all the way into 11
put Peppers
to the Dolphins, I believe.
Fitzpatrick together? I think that would have been a nasty. That's like Mason Adams for the Jets. Why not?
Look, I don't disagree with you, but we're not, let's not go off too much of a tangent.
Anyways.
We're not hanging for the Browns. Real quick, though, Mike, the Yankees, this was supposed to be a Yankees podcast, and we probably talk more about the Jets, but Yankees are in first place in all of baseball with their win percentage. Do you think this can keep up? And what is
lost last night, right?
Well, let's not make this a thing about what happened last night and whatnot. This could be generic enough to where what happens today, because people listen to this. The Saturday games are probably going to already be done.
Nobody's going to hear this before the game, but Severino's throwing a no-hitter tonight.
Well, no, I'll hold you by that. I will be behind you on that.
Just remember, if that actually happens,
this will be out before the game. So
and Stan's going to hit 2 home runs.
Okay, let's
and Judge will back-to-back and belly to belly.
All right. Enough of predictions. I just wanted to ask you one last question about the Yankees, which is the podcast supposed to be about. Real quick, which player scares you the most in the lineup that's not named Neil Walker? Because obviously he scares everybody as a Yankee.
Tyler Austin.
Okay, so that means that you're all for Bird coming up and Austin going down.
Yep.
I wouldn't disagree with that. I think there's some concerns with Andujar, how streaky he is, but he's still hitting 280. The on base percentage kind of scares you a little bit with Andujar.
Hits better. He's been more consistent than Austin has been this year.
I'm not talking about Andujar with Austin. That's more of a Drury because Drury's now in the minor leagues.
Yeah, he's still been more. He was more consistent than Drury was when he was up. Drury
had 2 weeks.
I know he had his mic.
And when he was up, he hit a home run. He was.
But how you gonna sit there and look at
his worst
Andujar and
stretch with the Yankees, Drury, in my opinion, was when he had the migraines. Which
you're really gonna sit there and here's my thing. Did Arizona really know his migraines were this bad and they still traded him to the Yankees? Because if that comes out to be true, that could be bad.
What did the Yankees give up again to the Diamondbacks? Do you remember? I mean, there wasn't
a ham
much
sandwich and a bag of chips.
I don't remember it being anything that important. So. There's really nothing to the downside of trading for Drury other than insurance, and if Andujar didn't work out. So the Yankees are in decent shape. There's some concern with Sanchez catching. Whit Merrifield stole 3 bases off of him.
But you know what, though?
And he continues to not be able to handle.
I'm not that worried about Sanchez. Everybody's complaining, his defense, blah, blah, blah. You know what?
It hurts, though.
It hurts.
Because if you look back to the last season's championship series, there's one play where Altuve should have been out by a mile that ended the game. Sanchez makes that play. Maybe the Yankees go in extra innings and win in that game. And then you have another game where McCann makes a great catch and tag on a Greg Bird that prevents the Yankees from tying the game. That's the difference between a good catcher and a bad catcher and winning a championship series and losing it.
But if you told me right now, bottom 9th inning, 2 outs, 3-2, bases loaded, down by 3, Gary Sanchez, Austin Romine. Who you want? One pitch decides the game.
Okay, well, so do I have any other options? Do I have, it's Romine's spot. Sanchez is already in the lineup, presumably at DH. And I still have, let's say, well, no, because Stanton's supposed to be your DH. Well, Stanton's still on the left. Maybe No, so you have. This is down the rabbit hole, but I would say definitely Sanchez in that scenario. But I'm trying to think of a different scenario where someone is on the bench, like a Hicks.
Hicks is in center field.
Listen, Romine is really underrated as a hitter. He's great with runners in scoring position, yet he has like a top 4 since he's been in the league of batting average with runners in scoring position, which is insane.
Yes, but I would still rather.
And his
Sanchez
approach at the plate, he goes the other way. He's, definitely batting average is better, but obviously power-wise, Gary Sanchez. But plate discipline, maybe Romine.
You know what, though? I'd still take Sanchez.
But my point is, defense can't be underrated. I'm okay. I'm with you in a sense of I don't mind defensive errors, but I think catcher is the one where you kind of want, like you want the best catcher possible.
Defense wins championships, but not in baseball. Like, it helps.
It's underrated. I'm telling you, that's a difference.
Helps.
I just told you the difference in the championship series.
I know, but you can't prove that was the difference.
A game-winning run. Altuve was 3/4 up the line when the ball goes to home plate. He can't catch it and tag him. That game is over, and McCann makes a great play at the plate, which would have tied the game for the Yankees in Houston. And that game is also lost because Bird couldn't score because McCann makes a great catch and tag. Like your point is valid of maybe the Astros would have won anyway. I get that, but those are points right there against having a catcher like Sanchez. But that's down there. I love Sanchez. He's a great hitter.
Gary is scary.
We got the Yankees traded for 2 decent prospects. Now I give Cashman credit for McCann, but I wanted the Yankees to DH Sanchez and catch McCann, and then whenever you wanted to give McCann or whatever an off day or something like that, you put Sanchez a catcher or whatever. Yep. That was my personal. Maybe you carry 3. Some teams carry 3 catchers. I don't know if that would be ideal, but I mean, they did. The Astros did. If you include Gaddis, they carried 3 catchers, and they won the World Series. Anyway,
the janitor, Evan Gaddis.
All right. So, Mike, this has been a great podcast.
Yes,
welcome back. This time next week, we will be already done with the Hall of Fame Classic. I want to read off some names and see if you like any of these guys. I'm going to read up every single name that's going to be there from certain teams. Clint Barmas from the Rockies.
Who?
Michael Barrett from the Nationals. He also played for the Cubs. Larry Bigby of the Orioles.
Big day.
Jeff Bloom from the Astros. Didn't he have a big home run for the White Sox?
Yeah, back in 1874.
Okay. Tim Crabtree from the Rangers. Jason Frazier from the Blue Jays. Chris Gomez from the Padres. Kevin Gross of the Dodgers. Jeremy Guthrie from the Kansas City Royals. I don't think he got a championship.
Next.
Former Yankee Kelly Johnson will be representing the Braves.
Kelly! I forgot about him.
Yeah, he was like on every AL East team for a period there.
Like 5 years in a row, I think, actually.
What's that?
I think it was 5 years in a row.
It was something crazy. Adam Kennedy of the Angels. Sam LeCur from the Reds. Terrence Long from the Athletics. John McDonald.
Long? I remember him with he was the first one with the cheek piece.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, Mike. Yes,
yeah,
Mike. John
Mike.
McDonald represents the Indian. Craig Monroe representing the Tigers
last year.
Yet again. Augie Ojeda. I remember that name from the D-backs. Juan Pierre, yet again. He'll from the Marlins. AJ Przinsky. That's a bigger name to see. We see him from the Chicago White Sox. He's representing. Nick Punto will represent the Twins. David Risk. Okay.
Forgot about him, but yeah.
Red Sox. Kerry Robinson, Cardinals. Ryan Rowland Smith from the the Mariners. Nate Scherholtz, the former Giant. He'll be representing. Luis Sojo representing the Yankees. Andy Sonnenstein back representing the Rays. Ryan Sweeney representing the Cubs. Phillies is Shane Victorino, as you mentioned. Jack Wilson and get back with the Pirates. Steve Woodard with the Brewers. And Todd Zeile representing the Mets yet again. If you guys want us to interview any of those guys you just heard, let us know at EricH1045 and announcer MJ.
44.
Go
and get some cold cuts, boys. And girls.
Get some cold cuts. Yeah, if you want us to interview any of those guys really bad, if you tweet at us, we will make an effort to interview one of those guys.
We will not get autographs, but we'll do interviews. That we will do. And that is it.
That's it. And then also, to the Hall of Famers, Raleigh Fingers, of course, Goose Gossage, Randy Johnson, Eddie Murray, Tim Raines, and Ozzie Smith. They won't play. They're going to coach, but they'll also be there. Those are going to be the harder ones to get. But if you want one of those as well, tweet at us. So, for Mike James, I'm Mary Cam. This has been the Sittin Sportside podcast. Mike, anything else to say?
Stay classy, Capital Region.
This is 1045theteam.com.